Another big reopening. The Hall of Presidents has reopened since its downtime. This time it wasn't down because of COVID, it was down because they were adding the new president. So Joe Biden is now inside the Hall of Presidents. The Hall of Presidents all started back at the 1964 New York's World's Fair, where Walt Disney created a show called Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. And this plaque with the bust of Abraham Lincoln talks a lot about it, and it was the world's first quote-unquote realistic human audio animatronic, and it was such a popular show because when Abraham Lincoln came out on stage, at the time people were shocked to find out that that was an animatronic because it was so lifelike. The Hall of Presidents opened up in 1971 as the Magic Kingdom opened up. This was an opening day show, and it was to honor Walt Disney's passions for the presidents. So this show is a great honor to the passions that Walt Disney had himself, and honestly, it really does feel like this would have been an attraction that Walt Disney would have loved almost more than anything else in this park. This sculpture of Abraham Lincoln was actually sculpted in 1963 as they were prepping for the World's Fair. And this sculpture helped form the animatronic that we see in the Hall of Presidents today, which I do believe is the same exact animatronic that was in the 1964 World's Fair. He opens up the show, and I'll show you a few clips of that now.
This program is dedicated to the memory of Walt Disney. In 1971, his love for America inspired the creation of the Hall of Presidents, a place to celebrate the optimism and goodwill he saw at the heart of the American story. Walt's vision was to honor the nation by honoring the American presidency.
It is 1783, and the smoke is clearing in the wake of the Revolutionary War. Over the course of 8 grinding years, General George Washington has led a force of shopkeepers, farmers, and Native American allies to victory over the greatest military power in the world. A new nation has been born, independent and free. George Washington's stature and bearing have marked him as a leader. His integrity has made him a great one. Washington knows that many generals who have led successful revolutions make themselves dictators or kings. Instead, he steps down from power and retires to his home, Mount Vernon. The world takes note, and George Washington becomes the symbol of American ideals. The tall, lanky, some say uncouth candidate from Illinois is a master of words at a time when speeches are printed in full for people to read. A house divided against itself cannot stand, he has said. With Lincoln's election, the House does indeed divide. Civil War. 11 states secede from the Union. Lincoln fights to preserve the Union and end slavery. Neither is a sure thing. At Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, 6 months after one of the bloodiest battles of the war, the president dedicates a cemetery to the thousands of soldiers who died there, in words we can never forget.
"47 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion."
Just an idea. It is an idea with a proud history. Ladies and gentlemen, the presidents of the the United States of America. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and now we come to the present. Once again, we place our trust in the idea of a president, as we have from the beginning.
My fellow citizens, no event could have filled me with greater anxieties than that notification on the 14th day of April, 1789, that you had selected me to lead our nation. But it was with the confidence of my fellow citizens that I took an oath. 35 simple words that have been repeated by every American president throughout history.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States, and I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
The presidency of the United States is a role unique in the world, an office entrusted to each president by us, we the people. Therein lies the genius of that new idea, now over 200 years old.